Kanda, and he's working on his project number 11. The speech title is The Love Bug.
11?
Number 1.
Oh, project. It says 11.
Kanda talked to me afterwards on that. And also, Gurpreet, you should read the back for project information.
Thank you. So the project is one from the Entertaining Speech Manual. And the title is The Love Bug. His objectives are to entertain the audience by relating a personal experience, organizing and entertaining speech for maximum impact. So, to introduce him, do any of you have a favorite model automobile? How many of you can connect your relationship with your spouse or significant other with your car? Kanda has a story to tell. Or maybe it's a collection of stories about his wife and the cars they've had over the years. In his speech title, with apologies to Walt Disney, Kanda the Love Bug. Kanda the Love Bug.
Well, I drove our Volkswagen New Beetle to work to Toastmasters this morning. It is the 8th Volkswagen my wife and I have owned since we first met some 41 years ago. Back then, when I met my wife Kamala, we were going to school, going to college in Sonoma County. She had a Carmen Ghia convertible, the sports version of the Volkswagen. I had a 1960 Chevy Clunker. We did our courting in her car. My car did not measure up. After she totaled her car in an accident, and that's another story to tell for another time, we regrouped and went looking for a new car. Walking down a side street in Santa Rosa, we found a Volkswagen Bug, a 59 Volkswagen Bug, sitting on the side there with a little sign in the window saying, for sale, $275. Sounds like a deal. We went and talked to the owner. He said, well, it does need a new engine. Well, Kamala figured that was not a deal breaker, so she bought the car. For my part, I promised her I would rebuild the engine. I bought the book, Volkswagen Repair and Maintenance for the Complete Idiot. I started reading through it, and I realized that I was then, and am still now, not mechanically inclined. We found a Volkswagen hobbyist who rebuilt the engine in his garage for $125. Wow. Well, we got married this is 1972. We got married a few months later, in June of '73, and decided for our summer vacation, for a honeymoon, to drive across country in our Champion 59 Bug. Going east, it traveled famously, no problems. Coming back west, as we were crossing Iowa, about 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning, there was a bang under the hood. And remember, in a Volkswagen Bug, the hood is behind you. The car coasted off to the shoulder of the freeway, no power. And remember also, this is a time before we had cell phones. We flagged down a car, dear fellow who promised to drive off the freeway and call us a tow truck. About a couple hours later, a tow truck, well, about an hour later, a tow truck came by, towed us to the next town, which fortunately had a Volkswagen repair shop in it. Pulled in at 11:30 in the morning, Saturday morning, to the repair shop with the Bug in tow. The technician looked under the hood and said, yep, the flywheel came loose, the belt fell off. We don't have any flywheels, we'll have to order it Monday morning. I looked at the town around us and looked at Kamala. Do we want to spend 2 days in nowhere? Well, the technician said, well, let me take a look. Let me look over. Oh, well, you know, this flywheel will work. he put it on in the engine, put the belt back on again, and we were off again. We lost 2 hours, not 2 days. The following day, we traversed South Dakota, and in the next morning, we visited Mount Rushmore. During the day, we crossed over the border into Wyoming, and for some reason, I don't remember why, we took a side road that took us across nowhere in the ranch country of Wyoming, along the Powder River. The car died as though it were out of gas. This was in nowhere. There was no cross traffic. We tried starting the car, Finally it started after maybe half an hour. We drove another 50 miles. It died again. We tried again to start it. Another half hour went by. It started and it went about 25 miles. It died. This went over and over again 2 or 3 more times, each time going just a few miles fewer, a few miles less. We hooked up finally to the main highway again in the town of Sheridan. We limped into what turned out to be one of 3 Volkswagen repair shops in the entire state of Wyoming. Wyoming's a big state. It was right before closing time. We parked the car there, found a motel across the street, and the next morning checked in with the repair guy. He said, well, it needs a fuel filter. So we got a fuel filter, it got put on, and we drove off. Now, I don't know if any of you believe in guardian angels or guardian devas, but I know ours were working real hard for us. We arrived back in the Bay Area just in time to catch our scheduled flight to Hawaii for the tail end of our honeymoon. We decided to move to Hawaii after that and went back to the mainland, sold the Bug back to the original owner for the price we bought it, and bought our 3rd Volkswagen when we were in Hawaii. On returning to the mainland, we moved to Southern California, got my brother's Volkswagen bus, our 4th Volkswagen, and after a couple engine changes, engine rebuilds, and those are other stories, we got our 5th Volkswagen, a Bug, our 6th Volkswagen, a green Rabbit, and then our 7th Volkswagen, a white Rabbit from my sister-in-law. They, suffice it to say, they took us many miles and many stories for another occasion. There was a time, though, that unfortunately we did not have a Volkswagen, and that was a time that was missing for me. Around the time 21 years ago when we moved back up to the Bay Area. I think it was probably the thing that was missing. They no longer built the Volkswagen Bug. Well, about 12 years ago, in 2000, my wife quit her job, and to celebrate, we purchased the Bug we have now, the New Beetle, newly styled Volkswagen Bug, and it has served us well. It is with chagrin and disappointment, though, that I tell you my wife recently bought a new car. It was not a Volkswagen. It was a new used car from a friend. It was a BMW. I guess I have to move on. I'm not a hippie anymore. I must admit to you, I must assure you, I will never not drive my dear love bug.